All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. Pardon the delay in the stream. We had some technical difficulties and we have restarted. So welcome to the Introduction to Cybersecurity, or the Cybersecurity Basics class here at Sanctuary Huntsville. So we are coming to you live from this beautiful, nice facility here on Governor's Drive and near the heart of Huntsville, Alabama. I'm the instructor for the class. My name's Andrew Staton. I am a cybersecurity analyst and part of the team over at Cyber Protex, helping lead various training activities for our customers there and work within our managed services program. So to start off the class here, some of you people here in the room and at home might be wondering what the heck I have on the screen directly behind me. You know, and I don't know how the camera is picking this up, but what I have behind me is what we call a threat map. This is a tool and resource that FireEye has put out, and they are a well-known and regarded cybersecurity consultant and vendor within the industry space. So what we have is a threat map that is showing in real time active cyber attacks that are being reported and identified in real time as they happen. And the map is showing us where they were launched from and where they are going. Now, normally within a traditional environment, I would ask students, why the heck do we have this map up? But for those of you ladies and gents at home, you guys likely aren't able to respond in real time, or if you're watching a replay. So I'm not going to throw the rhetorical question out. So what this map serves to do is it shows in real time what is occurring across the geopolitical world and everything that is occurring at this moment. And it's showing you attacks that are occurring in real time. This is to show you that cybersecurity is a very important field, and that the attacks that you hear on the news and you hear from your neighbor and you hear as you go throughout your daily life, it's not a one and done. This is something that is occurring in real time and is occurring in the thousands every day. FireEye here has reported that there have been, on this date, at this time, 431,750, that number's about to rise, attacks here today while we are live at Sanctuary. So this is a very fluid and dynamic field. So one of the things cybersecurity is about is securing your infrastructure so that you are able to prevent attacks before they occur, but another facet of it is how you respond. And we're going to walk through some demos and show off just a couple tools that we use in the trade, and then we'll cut the feed and we'll come back to the show here live within the room. So what I have on the screen is a tool that is called Wiggle. It is used for what is called war driving, where someone is going to come up and down a street or a road, and they are going to be scanning for an open wireless broadcast signal. They're trying to identify what is out there, and it scans, and this is a little easier to demo off of a mobile device, but this is an app that you can download to your phone, and as you're scanning in real time, you're able to pick up a MAC or hardware address for a device, the SSID of something that is broadcasting. It'll tell you what encryption that network is using to lock it down and secure it, and just as importantly, it's going to tell you whether or not it is vulnerable to being compromised. This tool is used by many adversaries to scout out a target used in this manner for educational purposes like we are using it today shows a very interesting picture because it shows just how interconnected we are as a world and community. I mean, here we are looking at, from several thousand feet up, the metropolitan Huntsville area, and you can map out various roadways and centers and access points. In fact, you can even see, as you look at the roadways, if you're familiar with the lay of the land here locally, you can also identify where the city ends and where Redstone Arsenal begins. And you can identify the borders and the gates of the base. So it's a very interesting tool, but if you take it out to an even bigger scale, zoom out and look at the big picture, here we're looking at a county-wide level. Well, you can begin to identify your major metropolitan hubs and the roads that are commonly traveled. So, you take it out even further, and you can begin to identify the state level. Now, this tool, again, if we were live in person, I would find someone in the room to pick on. I would try to spook them and give them the MAC address of their Apple Watch or their Galaxy Watch, or whatever device they're using. But each of those blobs of purple comes down to a little microscopic dot where a wireless network has been depicted and found. Kind of cool? Actually, Kenny, if you don't mind, let me pull up. So in the room with me, I have the man, the myth, the legend, Kenny Paone, who is the owner of Sanctuary here. So let's go ahead and since we got a willing victim, volunteer. So one of the things on the mobile app that it will do is it generates a ton of lists. So looking here, and again, I'm scanning a ton of networks. So Kenny, do you know what brand your wireless camera feed is, or what those are going to?
They're Nest.
Okay. So do those use Bluetooth?
No.
Okay. Well, I've got a couple of your Nest cams. Are you able to pull up the MAC address of your smartwatch? Probably? Let's find out. Also, I've really messed with my geolocation because it told me that apparently we're in South Africa.
Oh,
Interesting. Maybe we can bless the rains down there? I don't
I don't know if I can get the MAC address of my watch, but I can definitely get it for my phone.
So, I'm not seeing your phone, funny enough.
Okay.
So, this demo would work a little better in person, but if someone has a live Bluetooth feed, so actually, we can demonstrate this by, I have a pair of Galaxy Buds that are right here. Not connected to the phone, but you turn them on, and it begins to broadcast, and as it scans, I've got, in just a moment when it loads, I've got the MAC address that it's in weird little small print on the bottom of that. But I'm able to detect the MAC address for these Bluetooth earbuds, which for this one it's 5B-CC-C4-E9-1C-C1. So this tool is used to be able to identify what access points you've got. Now attackers will use this to try to identify a network and find where it's vulnerable, where they can be hit, and more importantly, where the person they're targeting can be weakened. But there are legitimate applications to use this tool. So for instance, if you're scanning a building, you're trying to make sure you don't have any rogue access points where someone's just plugged in their own wireless router to the wall and set up their own network. Or if you're needing to figure out where you're getting signal in a building. This tool has many legitimate uses aside from what we have described there today. So, I don't know about you, I find this fascinating. So, you can actually, with this tool and the website, for any of you at home that want to check this out, this tool is completely safe to use. The website is wiggle, WIGLE.net. And what I'd encourage you to do is to go on there and actually plug in your home address or place of work and see if your wireless network has been compromised. And if you do that, feel free to leave a comment on the video feed and let us know that whether or not we got you or what was there, what you found. So, while I prepare to pull up the VM, we've got another map that's running in real time. Now, what's cool about this one, and I show this just to give some variety if you want to look at something at home. So this threat map is done by Checkpoint, an antivirus software solution. So with this one, this is showing attacks at a quicker rate than what FireEye does, but it also tells you what attack is occurring. So, nothing too fancy with that one, just sort of as a, if you would like to see. So let me come here. I want to see, did this run? I don't know if this ran. Actually, we're live. I don't need to be running that. That would probably bring down our network. So, moving into to demonstrate just some other tools. So the entire time we have been live, I've been running a tool called Wireshark, running what's called a network capture. So this is where your computer just sort of sits and listens in on what traffic is going across the network. You know, it's sort of like if you have gone to a cafe or a restaurant and you have a couple of people are sitting on the other side of the room and their conversation's interesting. And you're just sort of like, I'm going to sit here and sip my water and just listen in. So one of the things with this, and we're going to go ahead and stop the capture. This may actually likely have been the source of our technical difficulties earlier. I apologize for that, Kenny. So one of the things that this tool does, and this is useful for if you're sitting in a network and you're trying to figure out what's occurring within the environment. So what this will do is as it captures a packet, it's going to tell us where the source is. So on the network, you know, the 10.1.10.155, this is the machine I've got in front of me. And it's telling me that I was sending traffic to 209.87.209. something. I don't know what happened to the screen. It just jumped on me. So this tool, it tells you from what device a traffic is going, from what machine to where it's heading. So the 204.79 address, that is Wiggle. I believe that's a Wiggle web server, but not 100% on that. So it's going from there, and it's going to tell you what protocol it's using. So this one, it's using TCP, or Transmission Control Protocol. For this one, it's using what's called TLS. So that's telling me that we were connecting to a website using HTTPS, where it gave you the funny little secure lock. So very useful tool that we could spend a whole class on the nuances of this. And for those in person, we'll get to go a little further in depth. But for those of you online, this will have to suffice. And we'd love to see you in person for the next class. So we now come into the last part of this quick little technical snapshot that I'm going to do for the combination of people that are here in person with us and those that are tuning in, watching this replay online. So what I've got set up is a thing called Kali Linux. So Linux is a flavor of operating system similar to, you know, how we use Mac and Windows. You know, Linux is sort of a third variety you've got. And Kali has been set up by the Offensive Security Group to be a set of open source tools that are used for penetration testing and vulnerability analysis. So one of the things that we're going to do here live, and I have gotten express permission for this. Right, Kenny? Okay. I want to make sure, because this is live on camera, and if he did not acknowledge that I had permission to do this, this could very well be a crime.
You have permission to do this.
I have permission to do this. Mr. FBI agent, leave us alone. So some of the tools that come within Kali Linux, you're able to perform what's called web application scanning or analysis. So what we've got here is a tool, Owasp Zap, that comes native to this build. That what this does is based off of some predetermined scripts. It's scanning a website to identify any weaknesses in the vulnerability. And to show just sort of in real time how quick and easy some of this is, pardon me for needing to adjust the visual, we tested this tool earlier to make sure that it would work for you guys here in the class. So with this tool, you specify a web address that you want to scan with express permission. You do not scan or execute any of these tools unless you have a written contract for permission, or if you're like in this scenario, you're live on camera and the person giving permission can likely be heard. So what we do is we specify it, and we're going to go ahead and do our automated scan, and we're going to click the attack button. Okay. Did I put the website right? Yeah. Okay, it just decided to be a little finicky. So what this tool is doing, if we can get the display back up, so it is scanning in real time every nook and cranny of the Sanctuary website. And you can see that specified by the URL. And it's even telling us what things are out of scope. So where the web hosting provider has images hosted, it's not going to worry about that because that is not within the Sanctuary HSV.com range. But it's still going to scan that and make note that, hey, we can get here, but we're not going to poke and prod because this isn't the specified target. So right now we've done through the first spider and it's going through the other one. So it's interesting, as it does its scan, it's going to provide a ton of alerts. It's going to tell us what is going wrong. So, for instance, so one of the vulnerabilities that it gave is, as it scanned, it found that the web hosting, so in this case this would be Wix, or this would be whoever's hosting the domain, they give out the time zone and the time that the server's running in. So we could divulge where that server is located within the time zone. And while this isn't a major vulnerability, it's something that could potentially be exploited by another attacker. You know, this one, again, informational, so that this risk and vulnerability is it's not something that's necessarily a bad thing, but it's just hey, as a heads up, bud. So for this one, it's got a cookie that's, it's not going to the fully qualified domain name. So instead of going to sanctuaryhsv.com, it's likely going to wixsite.com or to GoDaddy, or I don't know who else you have hosting domains nowadays. So, and then another one, it's going to say, hey, there's potential that you could do some suspicious comments. So tools like this are very useful and are used every day within the cybersecurity field. So with that, I'm going to conclude the technical demo here, and we're going to come back into sort of the classroom lecture and begin to delve into the meat and potatoes of the class. I hope for those of you guys watching this stream at home that you have enjoyed this, and I encourage you to come down to Sanctuary, check out what they are doing here in the makerspace, and we'd love to have you join us for some of the other courses that are taught by myself and other qualified and professional instructors here. With that said, you guys have a blessed day and enjoy your afternoon.